know what time it is.
How it all works.
Come on.
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 How it all works.
Come on. You know what time it is.
How it all works.
Come on.
how it all works.
What is up, family? It's good to be here. It's good to be back on another Monday for the show, How It All Works, Convos and Collabs, where we talk about the impact of live streaming on businesses, brands, thought leaders, in so many different ways. Live streaming, but also broadcast production. It can just really put you out there and we're really excited about this space that we're in. I'm seeing on my screen right now that the email just went out to all the folks that are on our support page on buymeacoffee.com. I'm just going to take a second right here to say, you might want to get your ticket for the after party now. Now, normally I don't say, yeah, it'll fit. There's space. It won't fill up. But today I think it might. And so you might want to go out there and get that. So, man, welcome. I see Donnell is here, says live from New York. Thank you for being here, Donnell. I see Anacleto. I'm probably butchering your name. So Mendez, A. Mendez, thank you so much for coming through. Said you're tapping your foot and waiting. I love it. Gary Jones, I feel like we were together just a second ago in the masterclass yesterday for StreamYard. So excited to be able to have you in the comments here today. And if you are in the comments, come on and talk to us. Let us know that you're in the comments. Drop something in the chat so that we can engage together. We want to have a conversation with you today. Also want to make sure that people that you are sharing, man, tag somebody who is in this space. You have somebody who has a healthy respect and appreciation for live streaming, but also broadcast. We have a very special guest with us today. I'm excited to be able to bring her to this audience. I see Antoine Speller is here. James Bush is here. Man, listen, you guys, you're saying that it's epic, but you have no idea what we're about to get into. It is going to be amazing. Let me turn to the other camera. I have to take a second to do the station identification. Of course, my name is Kirk Nugent. I go by the name, The Geek Speaker Preacher, and our business is called Composition. My wife and I run it. She does the web design. I do the live video marketing, live video strategy, and remote production. And listen, we believe in a couple of things here. Number one, we believe that your live stream is your digital storefront, because we think we're pretty certain, we're convinced that your live stream can help you grow and engage an audience. It can also help you to funnel clients to your business. And lastly, it can help establish you as a thought leader. And if any of those things interest you, then you're in the right place. You're in the right space, because that's exactly what we're here to talk about. One of the things that I am offering you, all right, for $9 is this new book. It's called 31 Live Streaming Tips to Grow Your Audience. It has been blessing people. I'm actually working on I want to say promo video, but it's really more of a testimonial video of people who have purchased the book, have used it. It's a 31-day guide, a 1-month guide to level up your live streaming. There's some really practical tips, bite size. You can get it, read it, implement it, move on to the next one. And after that month, I would love to hear from you. But yes, this is the book, and I want to make sure that you guys are aware of it. KirkRNugent.com/store. Go ahead and hit it up. Would love for you to be able to take advantage of that book. Would love for you to be able to take advantage of it. Membership has its benefits. Some of my members that have joined either the workers membership or at the mastermind level, you will get an email from me in about 25 minutes. You will get an email with the code, the Zoom code to enter the Zoom room for the after party. So members get that. If you're not a member, you won't get that. Another thing that you want to know in terms of membership is that if you sign up for membership, there is actually a discount code coming. I think it's the 1st of November. So in a couple weeks, 1st of November, that first email that we send out in November, there will be a code that we're going to send out, discount code to get you some, couple of dollars off of our next masterclass. And we're excited to be able to share that with you. But again, you got to be a part of the mailing list and part of membership to be able to get that. So I want to make sure you guys are there. And I see that we got $9. Wow. How do I purchase it? KirkRNugent.com/store. The book is there. So I want to make sure you guys get a chance to take advantage of that. And of course, I already mentioned the masterclass. We had our StreamYard masterclass yesterday, 2 hours. We went over by about 23 minutes. See, I know that number because I was watching the recording of it, and we went over by 23 minutes, which means that we packed in a little more into that session, we actually did a full live show with the folks in the masterclass. It was amazing. And I want to say thank you for putting that trust in me. Almost 40 something people registered, just maybe 10 or so under that actually came for the class. It was amazing. Amazing. We had a 50 seat capacity for the class, and we have the same capacity for this class as well. I see you, Dean Reynolds. I see you out there, Antoine Speller, James Bush. I see you guys out there. And Dean is saying, Kirk, I learned so much. Let me see if I can add that to the screen. I learned so much yesterday in your masterclass. Thank you so much, Dean. I appreciate that. I'm looking forward to getting more people into the Ecamm masterclass, where we're going to cover similar stuff, but of course, we're going to keep it specific to Ecamm. So I want to make sure that you guys are aware of that, and we're excited to be able to engage with you in this way. I want to get that off there. Let's move on to the next one. Convos and collabs, man. This month, the month of October, has been phenomenal. If you haven't seen the video, the show with Jillian Morin, you need to go back and check that out. If you didn't see last week's video with Stefan Lubinsky, my goodness, I don't even know what you're doing with your life. I have a meeting with Stefan tomorrow afternoon to talk about some of the ideas that we kind of put on the wall during the after party. And if you were in the after party, you know what I'm talking about. We got some stuff coming up. We're cooking it up. And I'm meeting with him tomorrow. And then, of course, today we have our special guest, Allison Davis. I'm excited. So I'm going to get through my announcements quickly to be able to get her on screen here, because I know you didn't come to see me, or maybe you did. You know, I want to believe that some of you came to see. But listen. So next week, we close out the month of October with Justin Brown. Family, Justin Brown. Justin Brown is from Primal Video. That's the name of his YouTube channel. He and his brother run that channel, and let me tell you, there's so much that I've learned from him, especially as I'm making the transition over to DaVinci Resolve. He's got a whole series of videos on his channel for DaVinci Resolve. It's been really good to help me level up my skills in video editing. Listen, if you're not a learner, man, this is one thing I learned from my dad. You got to be a lifelong learner, and you have to develop and encourage a thirst and a desire for more knowledge. That's the only thing to quench it is more knowledge. Let's see how much more we can get. So just because I put out content doesn't mean I don't consume content. In fact, if you are a live streamer, you do not consume live streams, I would question how you plan on bettering yourself. If you are a YouTuber and you don't watch a lot of YouTube, I question, how are you bettering yourself? How are you learning the ropes? So, man, Justin Brown is somebody that I follow, and Primal Video has just celebrated. Yes, David, his joints are fired. Right. Yes, I see Greater Destiny International is here, but Primal Video just celebrated 1 million subscribers. 1 million subscribers. And I don't take that lightly. That's a huge feat. But Justin does not wear that thing. He does not hold it close to the chest. He holds it loosely. I have chatted with him, got a chance to rap with him a little bit. This is a guy who's just is like, look, there's something that I'm doing that's answering a question. You want to see the shirt? Answer the question, right? Be consistent and then be vulnerable. That's the t-shirt. All right. This is not a t-shirt you can actually buy on the store page. This is a t-shirt that you actually, if it's a throw in. Do you know what a throw in is? It's like a bonus. If you buy one of our shirts on our merch page, they will send you this shirt as a bonus. We have a bonus shirt every month, and for the month of October, this is the bonus shirt. So I wanted to make sure you know that. And again, that's what Justin was telling me. He's like, I have been answering a question for people. That's all I've been doing, and I love that because that's something that resonates with me. It's part of my mentality towards content creation and towards live streaming. But listen, they say there's a blessing in coming on the live, right? That you guys get to see it and hear it first. Somebody should be able to see gold play button. That's right, David Hunt. Somebody should be seeing that what I have on the screen is the schedule for November. Yes, Justin Koo, Diana Gladney, Kat Moverhill, and then we got Toya Glenn. We are going to have just an amazing time. I actually had to take the last person off because they backed out on me last minute. Listen, these types of things happen, but I decided to just put a TBD there because I wanted to show this thing. I want to get you guys excited around the content that's going to be coming in November. So man, just those first four should already have you saying, I need to get my stuff together. Justin Koo, if you don't know him, you need need to check him out. He's got a couple of very successful YouTube channels. Somebody that I is one of my contemporaries. He's also a church consultant, and that's something that I do as well. So that's who's going to be on the first week of November. Then my sister from another mother, Diana Gladney, is going to be on. Man, we're going to have an awesome time. But this is what I want to put up right now, because this is our guest for today. This is our guest for today, Allison J. Davis. Absolutely excited to be able to have her with us today. Truly a rare opportunity to interview somebody like her, with her experience, with her background. It is going to be awesome and amazing. And so one of the things I wanted to do real quick here, I'm going to make this this thing a little bit bigger for you to be able to see it. Founder of Kuti Productions, a company that produces video and virtual production not-for-profits, Allison J. Davis is a professor, producer, writer, director, and media trailblazer, founder and Hall of Fame inductee for the National Association of Black Journalists, and one of the architects of MSNBC. She has worked behind the scenes of television's most notable moments and will share her stories and perspectives with us. Even just the little tidbits she's been sharing with me behind the scenes for the last week or so have really piqued my interest. So I'm excited to bring her on. And so let's get this intro video. And then once it's done, family, let us give her a How It All Works welcome to the show. Let's go. Oh my, oh my, oh my. You guys saw her during the countdown clock. If you were watching, you probably saw her during the countdown clock, but we want to give a How It All Works special welcome to Allison Davis. Thank you so much for being here with us today. Wow. We've got fireworks, we've got applause. Like, this is amazing. When greatness is in the room, everybody, I hope that you know that. Allison, thank you so much for being here. I hope that you're doing well. I'm so excited for you to be able to be here with the How It All Works family. I see a couple of people are putting it in the chat already. Just Allison, how are you tonight?
I'm doing well, and let me just say that, and I've already gushed with you a few months ago when I first met you, and I said, I'm a real fangirl of yours. I have been watching you, and interesting enough, Diane Gladney as well, and Justin Brown as well. So all of these people that you are buds with, clearly I have been in awe of them and their talent and in awe of your talent and your ability to explain the most complex. And so, there are a whole lot of us who thank you for that, because it's an important thing. You're making it much easier for so many folks to get in this game.
Man.
And to share their stories. And so, good on you.
Thank
As
you.
Justin Brown may say in Australia.
That is so amazing. Thank you so much. I love to hear those kinds of stories. In fact, right as we get started here, you've just kind of given the segue, right? This is one of the things that I shared with you guys a week or so ago, probably for the last couple of weeks as we've been preparing for today's show, special edition. I've been sharing with you that she's actually a subscriber. I mean, like, this blew my mind, so these are the types of things that can happen. And I think, again, what she shared is exactly what it is. It's the the thing that's on the shirt. It's the answering of the question. It's being consistent and really sharing from a very real and tangible place, a place that people can touch and feel and taste. And I'm excited about that. Even one subscriber, you never know who that one subscriber is. So that is so amazing. Right. We got a chance we met, was it Dwight Engel School? Dwight
Englewood, yes.
Dwight Englewood School.
A couple of boards there, and absolutely, and you did an amazing job in
Wow.
pulling together a virtual event that they're still talking about. So,
That is
congratulations for that.
this is that is amazing. That is amazing. They've got a great team there, and they had a big vision, and I'm so excited about what that finished product looks like. And it's still something that of course they can go back and look at today, even still to this day. And again, she's referring to is a remote production project that my team and I were able to work with the school on. Of course, her sons went there, and then she's a board member, and we were able to kind of connect through that project, and that was so amazing. This is back in February or March of this year, I think.
It was,
Yeah.
and I remember because they asked me if I knew you, and on the committee, and a lot of these mothers were like, "Well, we've never heard of him,"
Mhm,
and
mhm.
they said, "Do you know him?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, Kirk Nugent, are you kidding?"
Oh my goodness.
And so I got on a call with them before we got on a call with you, and I said, if you get this guy, I guarantee you this is going to be an amazing, amazing event.
Wow.
And and
Wow.
and so and then Saba, who
Yes.
she said, "Wow, it took you to convince them." And I said, "Yeah, sometimes it takes an old head to convince
Hey,
young folks that
they'll
they better."
listen.
Yep, yep, yep.
That is amazing, man. This is we're already off and running, and I'm seeing the comments already here. People are welcoming you. People are saying this is amazing. Thank you so much. I'm glad that you've tagged Saba, Kanik. Thank you so much for tagging Saba. I want to see if we can't get her into the comments here today. I know she knows that this was coming, so
Yes,
we're
she
excited
does.
about that. Excited about that. I want to make sure you guys are seeing this thing here on the screen right now. So we were just telling you to subscribe. Hey, she talked about being a subscriber. I figure this is no time like the present to put that up there. But our first question, Allison, is tell the people a little bit about yourself, who you are, and your relationship to not just live streaming, but production as a whole.
Sure, sure. I always like to start, and you can throw that photo up because it's the way
Sure,
I always
sure.
like to start. Whenever I talk about myself, it's
Yeah,
here.
go ahead.
If you're
Go ahead.
looking at that picture, most of you know who's in the middle there. Martin Luther King. I won't quiz you. Right above his head is my father, Walter Davis.
Oh,
And
come
I
on.
share that with you
Amazing.
because it gives you some sense as to the kind of family that I grew up in. It was a very activist family. Now, what's happening in that picture is my father, Martin Luther King, and all of these fellas are leaving Brown AME Church, and they are heading to the Edmund Pettus Bridge, not for the first one, not for Bloody Sunday, but for the next one. There were actually three bridge crossings in 1965. This happens to be one of them. And
Wow.
my father's talking to a gentleman named Walter Reuther, who was the head of the UAW and the architect to the March on Washington.
Right.
The UAW basically paid for the March on Washington. And what they're talking about is how to get my father from Selma to Montgomery because they had just killed a woman um, on that road from Selma to Montgomery.
Montgomery. Right. Right.
And I believe her name was Viola Luigi.
Wow.
And so they're trying to figure out how are you going to get my dad back. And the story that was told to me by the person who became the president of AFL-CIO, he said, we covered your dad's body with our coats on that highway back to get him back. And what's interesting about the story is my
Wow.
father would come home from these jaunts and he would, we would, we wouldn't ask him how his week was. We wouldn't ask him what happened. We would ask him to take us to Carvel's. And my
Mm,
brothers and I laugh about that now because he would get up and take us to Carvel's, never really sharing what he had been through
been
that week.
through. Wow.
And so I share that story because it gave me an interest in obviously current events and formed me into the journalist that I became.
Wow.
And so I graduated from Boston University, worked at the NBC affiliate in Boston,
Hmm.
went on the air for KDKA in Pittsburgh, and then became a producer at NBC Nightly News, The Today Show, several other shows within NBC, and then had the opportunity to start uh, NBC SuperNet, which nobody ever heard of, but it was NBC's first move into the digital realm.
Right.
And
Right.
the way I got involved in that was I bought a Apple IIe
Okay.
from
Okay.
Macy's, and I think I'm still paying for that bad boy because I was like paying a couple of dollars a month, and 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 then I later got a 300 baud modem.
Hmm.
And then they gave me a Trash 80.
Oh,
Anybody
yes.
remembers the Trash 80s? And I would watch these little letters come in one by one, and I thought there has to be more than this. And then I got pregnant,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
I had my first child in 1986, and I wanted to spend more time with him, which meant that I wanted to figure out how I could do my work at home remotely using some of these computers that I had,
Right. Right.
and stay at home. So I worked early in the morning, 4:30 in the morning, for the Today Show, and then I'd come home by 1, and then I'd do my stories on these little computers that I had with these 300 baud modems. So I say all that to say
Wow.
that
Wow.
I got very much involved in telling stories. Obviously we started this thing called SuperNet. NBC
Hmm.
allowed me to hire a very small staff.
Wow.
We were noticed by Microsoft, and they said, "We are starting this MSN network. Would you like to? We'd like to partner with you." And of course, MSN became
It was
MSNBC.
NBC.
And the rest, as they say, is history. And I'm
It's
sorry to
history.
go all around there,
No,
but I
no,
wanted to give
we
you all
need
some
it.
context.
We need it. That is amazing. I need people to understand like what we're hearing right now is the origin stories of some of this stuff. Somebody said OG telecommuter, right? I mean, this is a lot of what you said of, having the baby and wanting to stay home, but needing to figure out how can I do my work from home. This is very current. This is very right now. And you're talking
Hmm.
about, I think this is what you say, 84. So it's amazing
Yeah,
to
my son
hear
is
it.
now 35.
That is absolutely
And
amazing.
Kirk, I wanted to share that my kids went, and then I had a second one as well who's 29. My
Mhm.
children didn't know I worked in television. They just thought I worked on a computer. Oh, my
Oh,
mom, she works on
it's on the
computers.
computers.
No idea that there was a relationship.
Oh my, oh my. And see, and these are the things that I always say to folks is having the understanding and the awareness of the history of some of these key and pivotal moments in terms of broadcast that finds its way into live streaming really does help you to have a better appreciation for what it is we are hoping to achieve. So you want to use live streaming. You want to get out there and get your message out there. Yes, there are some, tips, tricks, techniques that we can share with you, but there's nothing we can do to help you have a hunger and desire to understand the history. Like, where did this come from? Why do we do a countdown clock? You heard me talk about this with Doc Rock a few months back. Why do we have some of these things? Why was it lights, camera, action, speed? Maybe some of you don't even know what speed means, but there's a whole history around that part as well. These types of things help us to have perspective and give us a greater understanding and respect for the craft that we're entering into. Because even though your message may be finance or, weight loss or, how to David Hunt is in the comments. So how to, get your music online and have it sound clear, whatever your thing is, broadcast, but live streaming is still a practice. It's still something to be respected, something to be understood. And I'm so excited that we're able to, sit at the feet of somebody like Allison Davis, who's here with us today and sharing some of these, nuggets, absolute nuggets. That we talk about ground floor of some of these things. MSNBC, like that became, talk to us a little bit about some of the other things. I know we have at least 2 clips, and I don't know where those will come, but I want to throw up this second question, right? We're ready for the second question, right, Allison? I think we are.
We are.
So our second question, of course, everybody's familiar with this. This is, again, still part and parcel of what we do here at Convos and Collabs, how it all works. What's your live streaming story? What I would call your origin story. Now, you shared some already, clearly, but talk to us about, because Coopty is your company that you run with your husband, correct?
Exactly.
And Coopty does remote production, which is similar to what my company does, which is so amazing. So talk to us, how did you get into that space? Clearly, we know some of the broadcast and journalist space that you were in before, and some of the awesome, amazing things you've done there. But how did you make that transition? Give us a little bit more of that story.
Yeah, my transition is similar, I think, to yours, Kirk.
Wow. Church. Okay. Yes. Very similar to mine.
We wanted to go live when it became available to go live. I bought, they call me Inspector Gadget because I've got more
I love
gadgets
it.
here than you can shake a stick at. And so I bought some items one is called VidView, and I bought a few items that will allow me to go live with just a prosumer camera.
Yeah.
And it worked out. People saw, and I think I was using Livestream at the time.
Yeah, I remember it.
And so I started to really, wasn't church every Sunday. It was primarily church on holidays, Easter,
yeah.
Christmas, and that's really how I got started. And then, I would take a look at other kinds of devices that would allow me to do it easier without bringing a whole lot of equipment anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I'm now at a point where, obviously I have upped my internet speed. So I've got a gig up and a gig down. I do Zooms for folks, more Zooms than I ever wanted to Zoom. Because, and I'll tell you why, because I'm not all into Zoom. I like StreamYard. I've been listening to you on Ecamm.
Nice.
But I will tell you that most of the demographics that I encounter, which many times are older folks,
she's
just
being nice.
Do one thing.
That's right.
They go to church. They go to Zoom church since the pandemic.
That's it.
That's it.
Right.
Don't try to get in one. I just did something on Hopin. The client wanted Hopin, and I said, "This is not good.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the demographic for Hopin.
That's correct.
This is not going to end well." And they were like, "Oh no! It's gonna do this. It's gonna do that." And I said, "I'm telling you, it's not." So it's a conference. They had about 190 people who signed up.
Mm-hmm.
Hopin requires you to verify your email.
Does.
How many people did that? That email, where it went. And it never came out.
And it never came out.
I share that to say that, it's the StreamYards and it's the Zooms that, folks in the demographic that I have been dealing with feel most comfortable with. And so a lot of stuff that what I'm doing now is that a lot of my clients are a little concerned about going live because they much rather as if you are live. So I have, been able to take apart Zoom or take apart StreamYard pre-recordings and turn them into something that is got a little background,
Yeah, yeah,
has
yeah.
animated graphics, and it looks a little better than if we were just doing a Zoom webinar or a Zoom meeting.
Nice.
So it's and it's fun. The one thing I don't have, and Kirk, you have the patience, I'm sure, of Job. I don't have the patience with some clients because
Yeah.
you feel like, it's hard.
It's
It's real
hard.
hard.
Listen, you're right in my lane now. It can be difficult, just depending. I mean, because a lot of the times people want to do the event, but they don't know exactly what's possible. So it's like, so you're saying to them, "Hey, do you want to do this or this or this?" And they're like, is that even an option? Is that something that's possible? So I totally get it, man. Folks, I want you to kind of start locking in and asking. No login required. Open the browser. That's right. Average guy yoga. I love it. I want you to start locking in with us in terms of some of your questions. Janine says, just joined and this is blessing me already. That's my demographic, the mothers of the church. I certainly came in at the right time. That is so good. Listen, I wanted to throw this up here. Audience question for tonight. And of course, for my replay squad, just go ahead and put it in the comments of the video and put hashtag replay squad in your response, in your comment. But yeah, here we go. What is the percentage breakdown of media you consume? Now I know that question sometimes throw people off, but essentially what I'm saying is, like, I mean, is it traditional TV 50%, on demand video maybe 40%, and then live video 10%, or is that all the way flipped around? So just give me like a 30 or a 10, 80 10, or whatever your breakdown is with traditional TV and then on-demand video. And on-demand covers all the on-demand types of video that are out there. And then lastly, live video. I want to kind of get a feel from you guys what that looks like in your own experience, as we kind of look to some of the other things on our list of questions today. I see Denise has come back again, and she's saying, I deal with ladies that are 65 to 100. I will go back and listen to every bit of this. I'm learning so that I can help them. I love that. And because you've activated the why component, Denise, and that why component is what's going to get you over any hurdle. I love that. All right. So David Hunt already comes in and he says, what is David Hunt saying? 5, 65, 30, 5% traditional. And then we've got Average Guy Yoga saying 75% Kirk Nugent, 10% Doc Rock. Priceless. So it's 100% YouTube, right? That's what you're saying, Average Guy Yoga. But that's so good. While they are continuing to answer those questions, Allison, I do want to get our third question up here, because I want to make sure we get everything in. Came for the overlays, staying for the V Cafe. Oh, that's priceless. And Saba has come in with her comment there as well. 100% YouTube, Average Guy Yoga says. That's good. 10% TV.
I agree with him. I'm about 90% YouTube,
I would
about
say
10%, MSNBC.
There you go.
But I can't even watch that anymore.
Oh my goodness. 10% on demand, including YouTube. 60%. Oh no, 10% TV, 60% on demand, 30% live. And I love all these numbers, and I'm so excited for all the engagement that we're getting here, because this is going to help us. This is going to help us in terms of as we go through the rest of our show today. But I also want you to keep that in mind. Like, think about what that breakdown is now. And of course, the best thing to do is to kind of think what that breakdown was 20 years ago. If you are that old, I hope that you are. But think of what that breakdown was 20 years ago, how much it has changed over that course of time. I mean, and here's another really good one to do. How much was that percentage 5 years ago? Because I mean, I think back to when I was just in college, Wait a minute, college was 20 years ago. Oh my gosh, I'm old. But when I think back to, I think back to what that was even just 5 years ago, and how drastically those numbers have changed. Yeah, even 10 years ago, totally different, totally different. So here's our next question that we're going to engage with Allison on, and we want to make sure we catch you guys up in the comments as well. What are some of the aspects of live streaming and remote production that find their roots in broadcast? I mean, there's a lot of people who are diving into the whole live streaming thing. Like, this is the new, wave, kind of, sorta. But I'm a person that loves history. In another life, I would have been a historian or a history buff, because I just absolutely love origin stories. Hence why the first question I ask every guest is, what's your origin story? But talk to us a little bit about, you have this rich history with broadcast, and of course have had the privilege of kind of sitting in spaces where things were actually being formulated that we still enjoy to this day. Where do you think some of the things that we are currently doing in live streaming, where it finds its roots in broadcast?
Well, everything finds their roots in broadcast. I can't think of anything that doesn't. Let me just say that I spent, close to 20, 25 years in a control room doing live television. So the only thing I don't have is 24 monitors in front of me. And truthfully, the other thing I don't have is the union. I mean, there were times, I was able to call much of the shots from the back deck, telling an assistant director and a director and a TD what to do, but I couldn't touch any of their equipment. As soon as I was able to touch some equipment and change shots and add B-roll and do the kinds of things that I'm able to do.
Right.
I thought that was the most glorious thing in the world. But the thing is that just because we are able to do it, and at home or in our home offices or wherever we are live streaming from, what tends to be missing sometimes is content.
Yes.
Is the storytelling.
Yes.
I love the fact that live streaming is there for everyone to enjoy and to embrace, but without content, without storytelling, I don't care how many flashes you throw up on the screen. I don't care how many beautiful backgrounds that you have, and sometimes I would, as I said, maybe spend 90% of my viewing time on YouTube's.
Yeah.
And I have now, if you take a look at my subscribers list, you won't see a whole lot of folks. And those of you who are on there are not because you have pretty pictures, but because you have good content and good storytelling.
That's great.
Don't waste my time and I with pretty pictures. And so broadcast, you had to have some content.
Yeah.
And so I say to you that you all live streaming is certainly an extension of broadcast.
Yeah.
But again, the rules still apply, and those rules are: please have content. Please tell a good story.
Wow, that is critical. That is critical. Gotta be able to tell good stories. Gotta be able to tell good stories. And here's it. We wanna let me see. We got 7:39 here. We might have to skip our little break for the ad, but because we have two clips, and I don't know where you want to drop them in here, Allison. But I definitely want to give people an example of how stories sometimes tend to develop, and some of the trends that we're seeing with a story that just kind of always hits home. All right, this is
So we can do the hair story for sure, and I'd love to explain that.
Absolutely. Okay. And when we're going to play this clip, and while we're playing this clip, she's just going to speak over it. So don't mind the audio from the clip. Just listen to what Allison has to share with us. So here we go.
Okay, very quick story here. This is at an NABJ, National Association of Black Journalists conference. You might recognize some of these women here. These women are all anchor women or reporters in major and small markets. I was walking through a courtyard and saw these women in a photo shoot, and they're all sporting natural hair. If you're taking a
Come
look,
on. Come
and
on. Natural
so
hair.
I literally took this camera, which is a DJI Osmo Pocket, not the second version, but the first version, and I shot this. This has been
Mm,
this has been seen all over the country, maybe all over the world.
right.
And so it sort of speaks to that whole adage that the camera, the best camera that you have is the one in your
That you got.
pocket.
That's right.
And it just happened to be something that I saw. It intrigued me because of all the pretty color outfits.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I finally realized who these folks are and what this photo shoot was supposed to be about, and the fact that somebody was going to do a story about this. And yes, the story was done. And
Wow.
I was able to contribute to this. And so when people start talking about, oh, well, if I'm shooting on something like that, a DJI Osmo Pocket, oh, it's not professional. Well, I'm a professional.
There
And
it
hence,
is.
as a
Come
result of
on.
me being a professional, that's professional.
Oh, that's good. Come on,
And so
somebody write
I
that thing
share
down.
that
My
because
goodness.
I'm very proud of this, and it was all by accident.
Wow. That is amazing. That is amazing. And one of the things I want people to really kind of focus in on and walk away with is the fact that this was a captured moment, essentially. But it not only it was significant, it was powerful, and that's the reason why it was a photo shoot. But it was significant enough that it caused Allison to say, "Let me capture this." But it also serves so many purposes down the line. When she talked about the concept of you do have to have a story, you do have to have content. The reason why this picture is iconic. It is iconic. But when she shared that her father is the one standing just up the step from Martin Luther King, it blew our minds because that's content. That the story behind the image, the story behind the visual, the story behind the clip is the content. And so that even here, when we're looking at this clip and we're seeing these ladies, it causes us to ask a question, but what makes us lean in? In the public speaker circles, you have that lean in effect, but what causes people to really put their phone down and pay attention is the story behind it. So as she's sharing that story, notice your own posture as you were watching the live stream. Like, you stopped what you're doing because you're like, wait a minute, this is a great scene, but what are we hearing right now? What am I looking at? And what should I be focusing my attention on? Telling the story is so critical. And I love that this is as we answer the question, what can live streaming learn from broadcast? What can we absolutely unequivocally not get rid of? And it has to be the storytelling piece. It has to be. Do not lose that part. I know I'm talking a lot.
Kirk, I want you to
No,
know,
please
Kirk,
go ahead. Go
how
ahead.
this was used, because I think it's
Yes.
important to
Yes.
understand that what ultimately happened was the story was about the fact that too few on-air talent
Come on.
had been able to have
Natural
natural
hair.
hair on the air.
Wow.
Their newsrooms would say no.
Wow.
And so finally,
Wow.
after years of women on the air having to straighten their hair, we were finally able to, and I was on the air and I had to straighten my hair.
My goodness.
And we were finally able to be free of straightening combs and perms and the whole bit, and wear
Yes.
our hair the way it was intended to be worn.
My goodness.
So that became the story, and that B-roll that you saw fit very nicely into the narrative.
That story. That's, man. Family. I mean, what can we say here? Like, this is so rich. This is so good. I see your question, average guy yoga. I'm coming to you, but I want to grab this final question here, and I think this is going to help us set up our final clip as well with Allison, and then we're gonna get your comments. Trust me, we're gonna get there. As we have the stories, this is one question that I constantly get. I would love to hear your perspective on it, but how do we make them engaging? I know you come from this journalistic background, and we would love to get advice from you on how we can have these engaging conversations that are informative, right? That have that story, but also drive home a point. So, you kind of just talked about having this B-roll, capturing this clip, but then the story was that here are now women who are in journalism, that are on TV, in newsrooms, anchors, journalists, that are able to now wear their hair naturally if they so choose. Now, if you don't choose, that's okay, but they have that option now. And so that becomes the story. But how do we end up having and being able to tell those kinds of stories in our live streams? How do we is it possible to manufacture that? I don't know.
That's the easiest question because Kirk, you do it every day. You know how you do it? You do your homework.
There it is.
You don't try to wing it. Okay, now I sit and I watch some of the things, and then I listen to you, and I said he watched it.
Yeah,
he listened.
That's right.
And that's the most important thing. I used to interview would-be producers for the network, and I would say, "Tell me about the last book you've read."
Wow.
And some of these folks, you'd have the women that go, and they'd flick back their hair and they'd say, Time magazine. And so I'd say, well, wait a minute. I asked,
book,
what the last book that you read. And they would say, well, what does that have to do with journalism? And I would just kind of giggle. And I said, in order to have a voice, you have to hear a voice.
Yeah.
And you hear it through reading.
My goodness.
And so, I say the same thing to, those of you who are in this game as content creators. Know your content. And your content by studying your content, by reading about your content, by becoming an expert in the content that you are sharing. And that's that's journalism 101 as well.
And that's the piece I want people to kind of catch, is that it's not haphazard. This is not like a novel idea. What she's telling you is that this is the bedrock. This is the foundation of journalism. And I think as we seek to have these engaging conversations, you want to do your live stream. If you want to put some value out there, you want to, get people rallied around this concept of whatever it is, whatever thing it is that you feel led to share, there's still a way to orchestrate that conversation in a way that really helps to draw people in. It is not tone deaf, right? It speaks to what is current and what is now, but it also helps people to come to the conclusion. Like I always tell folks, if you don't have a destination for your show, anywhere will do, right? So you don't need to orchestrate it or guide it anywhere. And all of I always have at least 2 questions that I want to answer for you. And those are the 2 that we've been focusing on today. And you want to orchestrate, you want to set up your quote unquote GPS, your show GPS or your run sheet or your show flow in a way that allows you to arrive at that destination. Because when you arrive there, your audience should arrive there too. And you got to think through what that process is going to be like for them as well. Man, this is absolute gold. So I'm looking at some of the comments here as well. I think one of the things I want to do here, because I'm looking at our time and I don't want to miss this last clip. Go ahead and set up this last clip for us, Allison, and we'll play it and we'll go back to it again.
Okay, so I guess it was 1994.
Yes.
I was in the control room of the Today Show with Bryant Gumbel and Katie Couric, and I was trying to get them to understand an email address.
Wow.
And they honestly could not figure it out. They were like, what are you talking about? And I said, just read what it says. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Wow.
So if you want to roll that clip, people will recognize this.
Here is the clip, everybody.
back in 56 past, I wasn't prepared to translate that.
That's
that little
right.
mark with the A and then the ring around it.
At?
See, that's what I said. Katie said she thought it was about.
Yeah.
But I'd never heard it.
Around
I'd never
or
heard it
about.
said. I'd always
That's
seen the
right.
mark. There it is. At amfeedback.com. I mean,
What
what
do you
is
say to that,
internet
Allison?
anyway? What do you write to it like mail?
There's Allison. Can you explain what internet is?
She's speaking to Allison.
See, that's what I said. What do you mean there's nothing under the hood? Katie said she thought this was a car.
Yeah.
And it's built using wind? Like from a windmill?
Or a fan, or a turbine.
It ended
or a
up
fan
becoming
fan?
a Super Bowl commercial, and it was
What is
used in a
i3
Super Bowl
anyway?
commercial
Allison,
by BMW.
Can you explain what I3 is?
This is an absolutely iconic moment. Let me go back to our regular scene here. This is an absolutely iconic moment that that happened where, and many of us remember this clip. Talk to me in the comments if you remember this clip. Yeah, I watched that clip live that morning. Wow, James Bush says, and Saba says, I love that clip. Okay, so we do have people who recognize that. I remember that clip because it was the first time you saw that realization, like, what is the internet? Like, so what is it? How does it work? So there's an @ sign, and there's, a lot of us resonated with Katie Couric and Ryan Gumbel on screen that morning as they were experiencing this thing. Can we just say mind blown right now, because the person on screen with me right now is the person that they were talking to in that clip, right?
So BMW, I just wanted to say BMW wanted to do this for a Super Bowl commercial because they thought it was, and they got all the permissions, except they didn't know that Allison was a real person. So
wow.
a friend of mine was an attorney for BMW, and he had since he had retired, and he said, "Hey, you know what? Before you use her name, you better call her and let her know that because the name of the commercial was Ask Allison."
That's it.
And I get the call from them, and they go, you're really the Allison. And I said, yeah, I was in that control room for 20 something years. Yeah,
that's right.
I'm that Allison. And so they were very kind. I drove a BMW for a while. So they were very, very, very kind.
That is nice.
But every once in a while, that commercial, or not that commercial, but the actual
video, the original
goes viral again. And the last one was about maybe 4 months ago. And I always know, because they'll say something on the Today Show, and then all of a sudden, all my friends will write me and say, "Oh, they did it again." And But Al Roker said, they said, "Well, who is this Allison?" Because of course I've been away from the Today Show for a while. And Al Roker said, "Oh, she was our Google." So I guess I have another name now.
Yeah, she's our Google. I love it. I love it. I love it. That is amazing. That is amazing. And here, the thing that is so great about what that clip represents, of course, is this entire moment where we're collectively kind of coming to an awareness of a new era. Right. And of course, BMW is trying to capitalize on that for their car. But the clip was not manufactured. It was actually a real moment that they were having on camera. And I think that's the thing that makes that thing continually go viral, because it's a real moment. One of the things I always say to folks about live streaming is that if you have conversations in real life that are engaging, then it's not hard to have conversations on camera that are engaging. The problem for a lot of us is that we experience those conversations. We love how we feel in those conversations, but we never take the time to dive into the mechanics of formulating that conversation. And so now when you're on camera and people are watching, you're saying to yourself, "Oh, I need to now figure this part out." And I think we've given you here today are some absolute golden nuggets about how that you need to keep that perspective in mind. In order to have a voice, you have to hear a voice. And it happens through knowing your content, reading, studying, being a student of your craft, and being able to share with people in a way that is tangible, that's right there where they can get to it. We have one question here. I want to grab that question before we run out of time. Let me go to this thing here. I love this favorites feature here in Ecamm. Question: how did you remain grounded and centered during such wild times so early in broadcasting? Must have been crazy. How can we apply some of those tricks now during these current wild times?
Well, let me just say that I didn't, for the average guy yoga, I didn't invent television. So I came along, actually, my first job was in 1975. I will tell you, I think that that it was much more established. Broadcast was much more established when I was in it than
Wow.
this thing that we now know as the Wild West. I mean, it is still the Wild West.
It is. It is.
I mean, I know that there are certain things that those of you who are on YouTube and you are content creators. I mean, sometimes when I watch Diana Gladney, and
Yeah.
I watch how, it's everything is formulatic.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's good, but then somebody can come along with a new formula and change the game altogether.
Oh, man.
So this is the time when you should try things. You
Yeah.
should
Oh, I love
absolutely
that.
try things.
That's so good.
I think it's important, because you have that opportunity, and we didn't, because we weren't in control of our own destiny in television. I had a news director, I had a general manager, I had talent that I had to deal with. When you're dealing with all of those elements, it's not like you are your own person. And then you had the ratings. Now you guys have
Yes.
ratings as well on YouTube,
That's
and
true.
I
That's
get
true.
that. I mean, if people subscribe to you, but it's the ratings, but it's not like it was in television. And so, for those of you who are content creators, this is an opportunity to invent and reinvent.
Wow.
It's a great opportunity for you, and I just I hope you not only take advantage of what you have, but you do what most of us in journalism have said we wanted to do, and that is to educate and hopefully promote change.
Right. Wow, 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 wow. There's so much that was shared there. I'm hoping that you guys are writing some of this stuff down. Broadcast was far more established than live streaming is currently. And so because of that, this is the time to try things. All right. This is the time to invent and reinvent. I absolutely love what we are hearing today, and I'm hoping as we get ready to close things out, I'm going to show off her website. This is her website, koopty.com. I want to make sure you guys are aware of that. I want to make sure you guys can actually follow her as well. So Allison, just tell the folks a little bit as we get ready to close things out here today. So much gold today. Yes. As we get ready to close things out, I want to make sure that folks know, look, this is the page right here. buymeacoffee.com/KirkR Nugent. It's been put in the chat multiple times. If you want to join us for the after party for a few minutes, just kind of talk in Zoom to myself and Allison. That's going to be fun. So definitely check that out and take advantage of that opportunity. But Allison, just tell the folks a little bit about where they can find you, follow you, what projects do you have coming up, and if there's any areas that they can support. I know that, listen, in the after party, we're going to talk about the Isley brothers and you being a beta tester for Mevo and several other things that I have in my notes that we weren't able to get to during the live show. So again, go ahead and grab your tickets to the after party. But Allison, please take us through where we can find you, follow you, how we can support what you're doing.
Well, so let me just say that a lot of people ask where I got the name Koopty, Coopty.
That's
I
right.
have two children, Cooper and Tyler. And there was somebody
Nice.
had already taken Ty Coop. So
Ty
the
Coop.
youngest one got the that got the top billing. Cooper got the top
Nice.
billing over Tyler.
Nice.
So that's how
Nice.
the Coopty started. So in terms of, I just finished a pretty big project, a 2-day conference, New Jersey Black Issues,
Nice.
of
Okay.
which we had 12 workshops, and some keynotes, and it was more than an ocean. Was lucky enough to do some stuff. I'm not an AKA, but I did a 35th anniversary of one of the AKA chapters. I'm working on a documentary,
Nice.
with another organization, not to be announced yet. And I've decided that
Love it.
a lot of people have asked me to do some writing, and to do some journalism kinds of stuff. And I decided that I was going to do that, with some of the new online news operations that are out there now.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of excited about that, because it really does, and I'm hoping, frankly, that I will also have the opportunity to do a tad bit of traveling. We got in our car during COVID and just kind of went
Oh
down
wow.
Interstate 80, ended up in Cleveland, and then turned around. So so
Wow.
we're
Wow.
we're gonna we're gonna try to get in the car. I do some cycling, and my husband's a cyclist as well. So
That's so nice. That's
we're
so
going to
cool.
try before the weather gets too cold
Man,
to move on and
I
do something fun.
I really hope that people have been listening, and they've not only been catching the nuggets of wisdom that you've been expressly saying, but the things that you have been saying are just underneath. I want you guys to understand that even with the wealth of knowledge and experience that she has, she's still doing it. She's still got projects that are coming. You heard her talk about some of the things she's got coming down the pike. I don't know where that thing comes from that says, well, that's for you young bucks, or that's for. She's still in the game, still making it happen, and I absolutely love that. Excited to be able to jump into the after party with you just now. But I just want to stop here as we get ready to close it out and say, Allison, thank you so
Thank
much
you. Oh, this
for
was
coming through. This
wonderful.
is Thank you. And don't go anywhere. I'm gonna close things out on screen here just a second, and then we will both enter Zoom together. Don't go anywhere. Just stay right where you are. Man, family, it has been another crazy, phenomenal episode of How It All Works, Convos and Collabs. This time, special edition with Allison Davis. I have a page full of notes here, a page full, and I'll share some of them with you if you come to the after party. But man, I'm hoping that you were able to hear something today that kind of sparked your interest to be able to go back and learn from the broadcast roots. She said it. I can't agree with her more. Everything that we're doing, if you're a YouTuber, you're a content creator, if you are even on Instagram doing anything video related, if you are doing live streaming, remote production, all of it finds its roots in broadcast. And one of the main things that we as people, as human beings, love to connect with are stories. So if you don't leave with anything else, please make sure you leave with those two things. That the broadcast, one of the major things that we can learn is to couch things in a story. Do your homework, be a student of the craft, and orchestrate things in a way that's going to be engaging. It's going to be tangible for your audience. Man, I'm hoping that you guys enjoyed today's show. Hoping that you guys were able to have that light bulb moment. Hoping that you were able to peek behind the veil a little bit. Essentially what I'm saying is I hope that you were able to figure out how it all works. I hope that you subscribed. Looking forward to seeing you next week with Justin Brown, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.